Hi, my name's Jessica Cail. I'm a professor at Seaver. I have a PhD in neuropsych. My specialty is the mind-body connection and how we could perhaps use the body to heal the mind without using any medications and keep everything healthy and working properly. I'm here at Muscle Beach, Santa Monica, the birthplace of the physical culture movement, to tell you a little bit about the research that shows how much using your body can help your mind in a whole bunch of ways, cognitively, spiritually, mood-wise, everything. Some of the simplest research on play involves just using it as a distraction because it's really hard to hula hoop without smiling. And once you smile, the research shows that just putting your face into that expression can alleviate depression in the brain. So even if you don't feel like playing, sometimes if you just start to play, you'll fake it until you make it and it will become real for you. Another bit of research about moving and affecting your brain is about your body language. And a lot of people realize that body language affects other people. Your body language is read by other people and picked up and they make impressions of you, but we don't really think about how our body language affects ourselves. And so there's one researcher, Amy Cuddy, has a really great TED Talk about this, where she talks about power poses, and there's low power poses, which are this, and collapsing in on yourself and being very shy and small. And then there are big power poses like this, and like this, like this. So when you put your body into one of those power poses, it changes your brain and it changes your chemistry. She had participants come into the lab, they spit into a cup, they measured their cortisol levels, which are a measure of stress hormone, and then they had them either stay in a power pose. They didn't tell them it was a power pose, they just said, just sit like this for 2 minutes, or like this. Or half of the group had to sit like this and small. And after 2 minutes, they had them spit in a cup again and leave. And just 2 minutes in the power poses, the more confident power poses, just being in that, even though they didn't know that it was a power pose, was enough to reduce their stress hormone levels and bring up their testosterone levels so they were more assertive and less stressed, which is a perfect combination. So your body language feeds back to yourself and actually is important. So be big, be bold, walk the walk, and eventually your brain will catch up with you. Another way getting out there and moving makes you feel better is that it increases blood flow to the brain. And when you increase blood flow to the brain, you release a bunch of your happy chemicals. Serotonin, which is the mood neurotransmitter, it's what's depleted in depression. Dopamine is a pleasure chemical. It's released whenever something is really pleasurable to you or rewarding to you. Endorphins are your body's natural painkillers. And endocannabinoids, well, cannabinoid cannabis, so use your imagination on what that does. So it releases your happy chemicals when you get that blood flow going to the brain. And the other thing it does is it makes your limbic system, which is the part of your brain that is emotionally reactive, it makes that less reactive. And so you're less reactive to stress. Your fight or flight system calms down, and you're just less reactive to stress in general. And so the things and bumps and bruises in life just don't seem to bother you quite so much. So those are two big benefits to making you feel better. So getting out and playing actually makes your brain less reactive to stress. In addition to ways to make you feel good, there's various research that shows that play helps your brain functioning. For example, if you do something physical, your memory is locked in more for that information you learned while doing things physical. Whenever information is paired with physical input, it locks that memory in better. So, for example, if you think about the way we play with babies, when we count, we don't just use a certain high-pitched voice and go 1, 2, 3. We grab their little hands and go 1, 2, 3. And so we move them at the same time that we provide information, and that signals the brain, hey, I've got a movement pathway and I've got information coming in at the same time, and that really locks in the information. On the opposite end of the spectrum from babies are older people, and research has shown that elderly people who have had strokes living in senior homes do better, their memory is improved, their cognitive abilities are improved. Everything's improved when they get out and play. And while we're talking about improved brain performance, I don't want to neglect the fact that a lot of these play activities happen when you're with other people. And some of the research on rats has shown that play with others, social play, improves brain functioning in areas related to reward, motivation, and self-control. So basically, when you're playing with other people, your brain learns what to do and what not to do with other people. Got me?
Yeah. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm standing. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Nice.
And finally, I want to discuss a little bit about mental health. A lot of the research on play suggests that you can improve disorders if you play and get out and do things. Studies on anxiety with returning veterans coming back from war found that those with post-traumatic stress disorder when they did recreational therapy, they had improvements in not only their sleep and their mood, but their family interactions went better, where their significant others, their spouses, reported less depression in them because of the family conflict, and also the entire family reported more involvement in the family. Studies on depression have shown similar benefits. There was this gigantic study in Canada with 15,000 participants followed over 16 years, and they found that those that engaged in recreational therapy got out, did things, moved around. Normally depression over the course of a lifespan takes a turn for the worse over the life, but in these people they didn't go downhill the way other people with depression normally would, and so recreational therapy and play improved the quality of their lives and maintained their well-being over their lives. These benefits have also been seen in other disorders other than anxiety and depression. More serious disorders, more even biological disorders like bipolar and schizophrenia. They've found that those who are actively engaged in some sort of recreational activity show significantly fewer symptoms over their lifespans, and they are more actively engaged in their lives. They suffer from less depression, less boredom in their lives. They're more likely to stay with their treatments, and they're just more actively involved and happier in their lives over long term. I've told you about a whole bunch of benefits you could get from moving around, playing, getting out, and just exercising. How much of this do you need in order to get these benefits? Well, if you have clinical depression, you probably need, the research says, 30 minutes 3 or 4 times a week. And the research also shows that that is comparable to drug therapy. That is the equivalent of taking Prozac or some other antidepressants, but with no side effects, in fact, other than getting in better shape than you are. If you don't have depression, how much time do you need? 10 or 15 minutes, a couple times a week. Just get out there and move. So in conclusion, I want to make a point that's really near and dear to my heart. I know you can't see this, but on the back of my iPod is engraved, "I never practice, I only play." Play is not a gratuitous waste of time. It's not an add-on to your life. It's something really important. Play, recreation, makes you happier, healthier, smarter, less stress reactive. It's not an extra in your life, it's essential to your life. So, get out and play.